and welcome to another exciting episode of LARPCorp.
Yes.
Today's episode is a How Does It Science video. And Javin, would you like to introduce the experiment?
I would love to. So we have this book, right, that we get our experiments from and just like kind of get topics from. And I was reading this topic that we're going to do today, and it just got me super excited because it's so simple, but teaches you about so much about the world. So it's so simple that all you're going to need is a hairdryer, a ping pong ball, and a toilet paper or paper towel roll. That's all you're going to need. Now, what is happening in this experiment? Let's give them a little background information.
Alright, so this experiment, we're going to suspend the ball in midair and shoot it through the tube. We're going to do this by applying Bernoulli's principle. And Bernoulli's principle, for those who don't know, is simply a moving fluid has less pressure than a still fluid. And if you remember from our last episode about colloids, we talked about the 5 states of matter. And a fluid is just a liquid or a gas.
Yeah. So I'm super excited for this. Are you excited to just play around with this?
I'm so excited, dude. You know it.
So ready? We're gonna go to the dinner table of science.
Welcome back to the dinner table of science. Javin, would you like to get things started for us today?
I would love to. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna plug in the hairdryer, and if you're a child, make sure you have parental supervision. You're using electronics, make sure that you keep this away from water just to be safe, because that is very dangerous. What you're gonna do is when you do turn on the hairdryer, you're gonna want to turn it to low so you don't mess up the ball, because high temperature is high temperature. This is a flimsy ping pong ball. It will melt.
Yeah, it gets warm.
It gets very warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this on here and have Miles explain what's going on.
So he's going to turn the hairdryer on and the ball is going to float. Now this is because of Bernoulli's principle, like we said. The air moving up and around it is going to be moving at a higher speed than the air over here. So this air is going to be moving, this air is going to be pushing inwards, trying to go from the area of low pressure where it's at to the area of high pressure where it's at to the area of low pressure in the column of moving air, which is just going to kind of squeeze the whole thing into a column, not allowing the ball to move. So would you like to turn on the dryer?
I would love to. Ready, set, and lift off!
As you can see, the ball's floating. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this tube over top of it and the ball's going to shoot out. Javin, would you like to explain why this is?
Yes, I'm going to sit this down for a second because I talk with my hands. I know you guys notice, I notice, but it's fine. It's just what I do. So what's happening is when you, as Miles said, this creates like a column of pressure around it, keeping it floating, right? When you add the tube, what it's doing is increasing the speed of the air, therefore lowering the pressure inside the tube. And so, as we see from the original column, that's going to cause it to go from high pressure to low pressure, right? I'm right in that? High pressure, low pressure?
Yeah.
Yes. I was just making sure. You always, this is why you do science with friends, so you can bounce ideas, make sure you're not going crazy. But high pressure to low pressure, therefore,
Let's just get on.
shooting it out. Let's do this. Okay, give me the ball. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it on there and then make sure it floats again. Let's do that again.
2 hours later.
Now, let's go back and discuss some other ways this principle is used in society, not just a hairdryer and a ping pong ball.
Let's go back. Alright, so that experiment may have seemed a little familiar to some of you, and Javin, would you like to explain why that is?
Yeah, you might have done the experiment where you take a Coke can and you put it in cold water and it implodes. And that's due to you would heat up the Coke can and then you would get ice cold water and you'd put it in and it would implode because the cold water has higher pressure than the heated Coke can. Now, there is another way this is utilized in today's society, in a super, super important way, and that is through airplanes. Now, Miles, why don't you go ahead and explain that one?
Alright, so when a plane is in the air, the wings are shaped so that the air has to move above it to get around it, so the air above the wings is moving and the air below the wings is moving less quickly, so the area of high pressure under the wing wants to push upwards to the area of low pressure above the wing.
So therefore, planes can fly. Now, tune in next week on Monday because we have a super, super cool video coming out utilizing Bernoulli's principle. You don't want to miss that. Now, Miles, at the end of every How Does It Science, what's the most important thing that they need to remember?
Always remember, science is always better with a friend. We missed. Let's do it again.